All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Svagadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text number 36. Yes. Always. Chapter 3, text 36. 336. Mukundila, chant the words. Chapter entitled
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Athakena Prayuktoyam.
Athakena Prayuktoyam.
Papam charati Purushaha.
Papam charati Purushaha.
Anishchannapi Vaishneya.
Nishaneva Vaishneya.
Anishchannapi Vaishneya.
Nishannapi Vaishneya.
Baladiva Niyojitaha.
Baladiva Niyojitaha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Athakena Prayuktoyam.
Athakena Prayuktoyam.
Papam charati Purushaha. Anishchannapi Vaishneya.
Baladiva Niyojitaha. Arjuna Vacha. Athakena Prayuktoyam. Papam charati Purushaha. Anishchannapi Vaishneya. Baladiva Niyojitaha. Translation, someone wants to speak the translation.
Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Thank you very much. So, Arjuna is asking a question to Krishna. Pertinent question. There are few words in this verse, this shloka, that we might want to pay attention to. First of all, Arjun addresses Krishna as Varshni. So Varshni is another name for Krishna. Is it all right? Varshneya is another name for Krishna. Then he begins his inquiry with a preposition, atha, which is generally not how people would ask questions. He does that. Then papam. Everyone knows papam. Everyone has heard of this word papa. Papa. Do you like that word? How do you feel when you hear the word pap? Any opinions? Scared? Yeah, me too. Any other emotions? Pap.
You feel like you did some papa in the past, suffering now.
So it sends you back down memory lane. You start looking at all those dark times. You don't like that too. Doesn't anyone like doing that? So pap. Then is the other word that, yes, anicchana. Anichan means without one's desire. But how is that possible? How can something happen without one's desire? So Baladeva Niyojita. Maybe this child is called as Anichan, has very, very strict parents. Force. Baladeva, sometimes parents are strict. They make the child do activities. Or maybe Anichan is a criminal and Baladeva Niyojita, police. Maybe Anichan is a situation one does not like, and Baladeva is still made to accept that situation. So Baladeva means forcefully. Niyojita, forcefully engaged, forcefully made to act, to engage in. And then Prabhupada uses the word sanguine. If you see in the translation, in the purport, it says sanguine means being little optimistic about the whole situation. Being Arjun he's been through a nice exposition by Krishna in the second chapter. So he says, okay, now I have to keep a positive frame of mind. So Arjun in the second chapter has received from Krishna a very, very emotive and powerful seminar on how to be positive in life. Because Krishna tells him your soul, he explains in great detail. Then how you should perform actions. So sanguine. Atha kena prayukta. It's like, Krishna, I think there must be a very good reason why this happens, Otherwise, as if there is any subject matter related to Papa, you'd be a little anxious. Like people go to confession every Sunday, and if they want to unburden themselves, they are very anxious. Father, please forgive our sins. So they're anxious that it be forgiven. But Arjun is being a little, in a very encouraging voice, he's asking about what to do about sins that one is forced to perform, although one does not desire. So the answer is going to be interesting, which most probably we will not be discussing today. You can hear from the most self-realized, powerful speaker, Vanamali Gopal Prabhu. He is qualified to address the answer.
You can cover tutor.
Yeah, that is not going to happen. We'll just discuss.
I would like to hear the answer.
I haven't even begun on the question. By the time I finish speaking on the question, it'll be like, Prabhuji, time is over. We can discuss the answer next class. So the reason Arjun is being a little upbeat about a very, very difficult question is because Krishna has just told him previously that he should be free from attachment and aversion. Raga dvesha muktestu. So Arjun is like, I got you, Krishna. I got that. However, there's just a little bit of a problem. Athakena vayuktoya. I understand that one must not be too attached and one must not be too averse. You'll discuss that previously, some of you who regularly attend. Why? Because when you are too attached, Because of your attachment, you sometimes do not see what are the options or what could be the conclusion. You only see what you think is a conclusion. You only see the options that you are attached to. And then later on, you may chastise yourself. Oh, why did not I look at the other option? Like somebody tells us, prasadam is being served. So everyone rushes for prasadam. And then because there's a crowd, some people have to stay behind, right? So they are feeling a little bad. But then the announcement is not complete. So those who have run ahead, they've run ahead. So prasadam is being served. However, the Mahaprasadam sweet will be served here. So those who have run away, they later on come to know, oh, Mahaprasadam sweet was here. Because they're attached to the idea of prasad. You run. And later on, you may feel a little bad that you did not stay back to hear the complete announcement. So that is attachment. And what is aversion? Aversion is that today the prasad has been cooked by Vanmali Gopal Prabhu. No, it is not. But that is the announcement that is made. So everyone is thinking that, oh, that means everything from his vegetable garden. Which means what was there last year and the year before that may be cooked. So you're a little averse. So you stay a little back, like, yeah, first let everyone else take prasad. And then when people take prasad, then they're like, my God, Vanmali Prabhu has cooked all new ingredients. And then because you're at the back, you feel bad. Oh, why did I judge Vanmali Prabhu? It is not good to judge a devotee. So aversion, attachment and aversion. However, most importantly, what attachment and aversion does is it does not help you stay in the present. You look at your choices based upon the impressions that you carry from the past, which is unfortunate. So one may lose valuable opportunities in the present time because one is carrying the baggage of the past and hence looking at this present options. So attachment and aversion. So now, which actually is not well understood by people. People really think that maybe only attachment is a problem. So Krishna says aversion, dvesh. Not liking a thing also helps you waste your time. Not liking something. It's like love and hate. Both are very strong emotions. So attachment and aversion. Now, having understood that, Arjun brings up a pertinent inquiry. Why? Because he is an honest gentleman and he has been a practitioner. He has been with Krishna for a long time, just as most of us have been with Krishna for a long time, right? I mean, not Krishna as a person, Krishna as in Krishna consciousness. We've been with Krishna for some time. Days, months, years. So Arjuna is wondering that why is it that people sometimes act in ways which are so contrary when they very well know that it is not helpful. It's as if they are very flagrant in their inconsistency. They're very unabashed. They are like, I don't care attitude. So why would anyone do that in the right senses? For example, one is having acid reflux. But then comes this Mahaprasad plate or heavy sweets. And one has had acid reflux for a few days. How is it that people think that by eating that they will be purified? How is that they never understand that by distribution also you get purified? If you don't honor the Mahaprasadam by consuming it, you can always honor the Mahaprasadam by distributing it. So this inconsistency in people's behavior who are otherwise intelligent is difficult to understand. So then they have a lot of sweets, and for the next 10 days, they suffer from severe acid reflux. But after 10 days of severe acid reflux, when the sweets come back again, they're like, for 10 days, I have the Nivas Tapasya. I haven't eaten sweets. So again, they pounce on the sweets. Why is it that people do that? Why is it that as students, after every exam, you decide that I'm going to be consistently studying? Then finally, your consistency only comes 15 days before the exam. Why is that? Why is it that we decide that we will be very civil to each other as family members, and then we find some reasons not to be so civil as family members? And then we can justify it too. So what makes intelligent people do that is what Arjun is trying to understand. What Arjun is trying to understand is that is it possible that people actually become disillusioned? The whole idea of being intelligent is that you cannot be disillusioned. Why? Because as humans, or as educated humans, whatever be education, as if you have received some degree of education, education gives you insights. When you're educated and you properly received the knowledge, it gives you insights. Those insights help you achieve a certain level of trust in the decisions that you make. Those decisions that are healthy for you. So it develops a kind of trust on oneself. Why would people go against a better judgment? Why would they act in such ways that would exemplify how they do not trust their own decisions? For example, I gave that example. It's against a better judgment. Now, typically here he is asking about papam. So is it that people do not understand what is pap? No, he's talking of those who know what is pap. He's talking of those who can delineate between what is pap and what is not pap. What are restricted activities and what are unrestricted activities, those that are allowed, what are allowed and what are not allowed. So that which is not allowed is called a sin because it's not good, it's not healthy for one. So why would one go against one's better judgment to that which causes harm to one? And who would do that? Those who have, over a period of time, developed a good sense of judgment. They have developed good trust in their own decisions. Why would they do that? It seems that they are not being themselves. Why would an intelligent person not be themselves? That doesn't make sense. It seems very contrary. And therefore, Arjun here uses the word balad. It's as if one is being forced. An intelligent person who's free cannot be forced. One who has freedom and knows what is the best course of action would not be forced into an activity that is not healthy, that is not allowed. What makes one do that? So the first thing that has to be considered is that this is not speaking about just how one becomes distracted and is led away by one's bad habits. No, these are people who have cleansed themselves to a certain extent. They have adopted a procedure by which they have cultivated better habits now. Why would such persons go back 10 steps in their progress? Why would they do it? They're not gamblers, because they have accepted responsibility of their decisions in life. These are the kind of people that are being addressed here. Why? Because 2 verses back, Krishna has spoken about being free from attachment and aversion. So somebody who has heard that and achieved that has a better sense of judgment. So typically, the dilemma of one's ideals and the shortfall in one's actions is being addressed here. One has goals that every day, let us say a student, or one has goals like one has to become fit. So every day I'm going to do X amount of activities, X amount of studies, X amount of classes to attend, X amount of practical sessions to be done, X amount of exercises to be done. One has a whole plan. Why? Because one has properly understood the process and knows that if I follow this plan, then after 6 months or 3 months, this is where I am going to be. And it is not out of the whim or fancy, but they have looked at it very logically. And after having a good plan, it is not a very, very undoable plan. It's a practical plan. Even after doing that, what makes a sensible person go the wrong way? What makes somebody who's on a diet cheat on tasty food? What makes somebody do that? Because these are really sensible people who have taken on that diet plan. All right. Hence, the word atha is also being used. Atha means what else? Because atha, now, whatever has been discussed previously, and Krishna has discussed so many factors. He says, atha. Considering all of those factors, I still feel something is missing. Is there any other emotion? Is there any other cause that is more powerful than what we have discussed up till now? Because if that is powerful, you have explained to me how powerful the soul is. You have explained to me how powerful the Paramatma is. You've explained to me how powerful the administrative personalities in this universe are. What is this powerful instinct that an intelligent person has to go astray? Can you explain me about that subject matter too? So it's a very, very intuitive question that Arjuna is coming up. So what is it? Could it be anger? Could it be greed? Because it has to be so impulsive and it has to have so much of power in it that it takes away our intelligence from what is the right course of action. It has to be a very powerful emotion. What is it? Krishna, please, can you explain? Because if I come to understand that, what you've explained to me are the various processes that somebody who's disillusioned or who is in disillusion should adopt. I would also want to know the procedure or the process by which someone who is bewildered despite being intelligent, despite knowing what is the dangers of doing an activity which is unhealthy, which is not helpful. So what should be done? So someone can say that, hey, I think this is a very, very hypothetical scenario. Very hypothetical scenario. Why? Because one of the greatest fears is to suffer for that wrongdoing that we have committed and we are caught for it. You may do a wrongdoing, something that is wrong, you may do it. But if you're not caught, you may constantly be a little anxious, but it gives you some sense of relief. I'm not caught. I don't know. However, if you're caught, the fear of the punishment that is going to be given to you is very, very strong. Especially when we hear about, if you do this, you will be thrown onto a tree with a lot of thorns and pulled down like that, or you'll be thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil and boiled, or you'll have to run over earth that is not made up of soil but of molten metal. There's so many things that have been mentioned, and all for simple, so-called simple activities like, if you hurt an insect, then this happens. If you do not welcome a guest, then those ruru birds come and pluck out your eyes. So when you hear all those descriptions, definitely one is fearful that one does not want to do that. So understanding how powerful this fear is, there could be practically no fear greater than the fear of going to the hellish planets. So either you say that it is all an imagination, but the fear still remains. What if it is true? Or if it is true, then one would not want to commit activities that lead us there. So Arjun is asking a question about people who know about this, who have fear of having to go to the hellish planets and suffering there, and still in their conscious existence they do those activities. That is called as athakena prayuktoyam. What is it that is causing them to do that? Why? Anichan. The word anichan expresses the idea that they know what are the norms, what are the rules. They know what are the reactions they would get for not following those rules. So they know what are the rules and the provisions, and they also know what is the punishment. That is called as anichan. So if you ask them in the right senses, they'll no, I'm not going to participate in it. Not possible. If you give them a theoretical scenario, if there's a classroom and you give them a theoretical scene, what would you do in this situation? They would say, I pass. I'm not going to be in that situation. So anicca. They know what are the norms, they know what are the scripture injunctions, they know the teachings. In fact, they may also be sharing those teachings, they may also be sharing all of that knowledge. It has been seen that in the lives of such people, there are instances where they commit activities that could actually lead them to hell. Baladeva niyojita. How is that possible? Who does that? Who's the person doing it? So anicca. Hence, it seems to be very inconsistent of their character. Seems very inconsistent of who they are. And the way they do it, it seems as if they don't care, which is also very inconsistent for them. This is the kind of impetus that Arjuna is speaking of. Is this just, am I trying to share something that is very scary because I like to scare people, be scared myself? This is just like a way too dramatized? Could be what we could wonder. That this is over exaggeration. How is it possible? So to understand that, we have to understand the subtle science of action and reaction. What happens? How does one get bound in this material world? Now, simply by chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, we may just be relieved of this bondage, and we may not be aware of the subtle causes of this bondage. The subtle causes of the bondage is one's own free will. This free will manifests in the form of desire. Desire manifests in a gross form and a subtle form. The gross form is where you want to enjoy. That is called as bhoga. The subtle form of desire is where you are planning how you are going to enjoy. That is called as carrying impressions. Typically, we think desire simply manifests in the sense of enjoyment. However, the practice of sadhana bhakti, especially the delineation, explains very well how powerful impressions are which we accumulate over days, months, weeks. I don't like this, I don't like that, I like this, I like that. I like this person because XYZ is very respectable, and the other person, oh, they are also respectable, but will I be giving my time to them? No, I've given my time. So these impressions is what makes one very, very rigid. And the more one is ideologically motivated, this rigidness leads to fanaticism. And fanaticism is not gross, it is very, very subtle. It's like those impressions that we have gathered, and slowly that those impressions have become very, very powerful within our consciousness. Very powerful. So here Arjuna is trying to address the situation where we have overcome desire in the form of wanting to enjoy. So someone says, you have this opportunity, and we are like, no. You have this opportunity, we are like, no. But what are the impressions? Later on, we are wondering, was it a right choice? It was not really, not Krishna conscious, maybe I should have paid more attention. So these are the impressions that we cultivate when we make choices in life, and we forget that once we have made the choice, we don't have to remeditate on it unless until necessary. It's like after you have written your exam, if you have experienced this as a student, you've finished writing the exam, answer paper, answer book, and then when you come out and somebody tells you, did you attempt this? And you're like, yeah. And then you realize that I made this silly mistake. For the next 2 days, you are like, why did I do it? I could have paid a little more attention. If I had paid a little more attention, then I would have got such a grade, so much. This would be my grade. The next 2 days, you're trying to reimagine that. What could be the scenario? Experience that? Have you been in that situation? Or an interview? Been in that situation? Or you make prasad for a very senior devotee and something happens. You reimagine that over so many days. If I had just done this, if I had just done that. These are called as impressions. Yeah, you do it once, you make course correction, and now you live in the present. But no, impressions do not allow you to do that. That is subtle form of desire, because what we desire is to be good in the eyes of that devotee. What we desire is to be good in the eyes of the public who look at grades. So, Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that living entity is naturally pure. Therefore, actions that are favorable to maintain a pure consciousness are already inherent in the form of knowing what is one's duty. So we all know what is one's duty. For example, even if you're not conscious, as a parent, you know it is a duty to take care of your children. If you're not Krishna conscious, if you're not God conscious, even then a parent knows that it is one's duty to take care of the toddler, a baby, till the baby grows up. Where did that come from? That comes from the innate goodness that is there within us as our, because of our existence as spirit soul. Do you think matter, that which does not have consciousness, is aware of one's duties? No. Yes. If you see somebody, an unknown person needing help, even if you're not God conscious, you feel as if you must lend a hand. Don't need to be God conscious. You may not even be a so-called good person, but when you see yourself in that situation where somebody can be helped by you, and you have no prior, baggage about that person, you want to lend a hand. Where does that come from? That is called as the innate goodness of the living entity as spirit soul. So if you're thinking that by Krishna consciousness it is going to come, no, it is already, the spirit soul is already duty conscious, is already Krishna conscious. It's just a covering. So just as, you've already finished the syllabus maybe 6 months back. So when you read it again, it refreshes your memory. You don't have to relearn it. The memory gets refreshed. And all the links that were there when you had learned your lesson previously, all the links again become prominent. You know how that syllabus, you again remember that syllabus that you had learned. Correct? Does it happen? Therefore, it is innate to be conscious. It is the innate character of the living entity or of a living being to be conscious of one's duty. In simple words, that means that every living entity is aware that one has to render service, one has to serve. Even if you are very selfish, still you know that you have to serve. You have to do some service. Even a selfish person comes and, let's say the selfish person needs some food and wants to be the first one to take food. So even a selfish person would come and say, can I take this plate and have food? So can I take this plate and serve myself with some food serving? That also is an act of a servant. So that is why Prabhupada would, in so many purports, say that the nature of the living entity is to serve. Just because we do not know how to dovetail the service towards Krishna, we try to serve the senses. So if the nature of the living entity is to be duty conscious, know what one's duty is, especially somebody who has awakened to the philosophy of who one is, and still one does that which is not helpful, it seems that it is not the person himself or herself that is doing it. It is not the living entity that is doing it, but there is an intruder. There's someone else that has intruded and is preventing one from performing one's duty. In the Garg Samhita, the episode of the Kauravas and the Pandavas is also described in certain ways. It's not just the Mahabharata and the Srimad Bhagavatam, but other Puranas also describe the Kauravas, Pandavas, and the friction between the two. So there, in a conversation with Krishna, Duryodhana explains what his situation is. He says, I know what is dharma. However, I'm not inclined towards it. I know what is adharma, and I have no inclination to give it up. Dharmam chamay na pravritti, adharmam chamena nivritti. Janami dharmam na chamay pravritti, janami adharmam na chamay nivritti. And then he says, Kenapi devena ridhi sthitena, yatha nyuktosmi tatha karomi. There seems to be a superior power within me. And whatever the superior power dictates, that is what I do. So where does this come from? How does it happen? It cannot be coming from the self. Definitely the super soul is not instigating it. Somebody has put in the idea that there is an intruder that covers up one's intelligence and makes us blind to reality. What could be that intruder? The object that is causing one to be distracted seems to be the stimulus to one's actions. So can we blame the object? It is not us as a living entity. It is not the knowledge. It is not the super soul. Still, the action has been performed, despite knowing very well that this could lead us to hell. And still, somehow or the other, braving that fear. So somebody has intruded into our lives, despite all the alarm systems that we have set up. There is an intruder. And this intruder seems to be instigated by the object. That which is making us distracted, that which is wanting us to perform an action. Why is that object becoming so powerful now? Why is an objective that my intelligence, which is nourished by knowledge, becoming bewildered and overpowered? No object can have that kind of potency. So people like Duryodhan, they say, Kenapi Devena, superior power. There seems to be a superior power, supernatural force, who has conquered over my consciousness, my heart, my intelligence, my existence. Hridisthitam. Yathanyuktosmi. And now I've become a zombie. I become completely controlled. Yathanyuktosmi. Nyukta. As is being told to me, Tatha karomi. That is what I'm doing. Hence one has to be very, very perceptive of samskaras, impressions that we gather and we harbor within our heart and our lives. Impressions of the past. In the Mahabharata, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Arjun comes back from Dwarka and looks very distressed. Yudhishthira Maharaj asks him a few questions, trying to understand what could be the cause of his distress. And Arjun does not respond. Yudhishthira Maharaj asks him a question. Has the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna disappeared from our planet? Arjuna starts crying. Yudhishthira just gives up everything, starts walking towards the north. Maybe he just sent an email, quick email that please install Vajranabh as the king, the emperor. But he does not consult with his brothers, he does not consult with his wives, he does not consult with the Guru, Vashishta, Rajguru, does not consult with anyone. Because all the consultations of a lifetime have fructified right now in his understanding that if Krishna has disappeared, our duty on this planet is done with. And can you imagine? Bhimasen followed him, of all the people. Why do I say that? Because Kunti Maharani was always concerned about Bhima. Of all the Pandavas, she was always concerned about Bhima. He could never ever control the pangs of hunger. You know, when hunger pangs attack you, all the tapasya goes out of the window. Bhima followed him without consulting anyone. And one by one, all the Pandavas followed. Now, we may have heard of that so many times this past time in various ways, extracting so many teachings to inspire us. But imagine impressions over a lifetime. And you drop all of that and say, okay, I'm leaving. Impressions are very powerful. And what are those impressions fueled by? That is what Krishna will reveal in the answer to this question. What it is fueled by. Maha Ashna Mahapadma. Those are the words he's going to use. It is not just what we understand as the challenges that we have. The subtle aspects of those challenges could be missed out if we just look at the gross aspects of those challenges. Rajogun Samudbhava. Impressions. That's the answer in the next verse. Yes? So once upon a time, in Vaikuntha, Narada Muni Vajaye Veena, he reached Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna was being served by everyone. So Narada Muni goes there and he's a little forlorn. Krishna is saying, what? In Vaikuntha there is Kunta? Why? Why is there such anxiety on your face? He says, no, my dear Lord. There's nothing. You engage in your pastimes. Krishna is like, how can I engage in my pastimes when you're standing like this in front of me? No, my dear Lord, just don't forget that I exist. Narada Muni, it is impossible for anyone in this entire creation to not notice you if you are there. You're omnipresent like the Paramatma. Because he has information. He's like the super database. He has so much information. He knows almost everything that is happening, like a witness to everything. So Narada Muni says, my dear Lord, I'm concerned. Krishna says, what are you concerned about? Your words. He says, what words? Well, you said that only after you've abandoned all religions and so on and so forth, then you can come to me. Baba, how can you do that? And after you left Kali Yuga, no one has a chance. So Krishna says, what do you want? He says, I want that you just give everyone free entry. Krishna is like, free entry where? He says, here. My desire. You give everyone free entry. And Narada Muni said, and if you think all of them, Krishna says, stop. I know what argument you're going to give. You're going to say, I'll take all over their sins, plus please let them. I know all of that. Please stop your Rona Dhona. Don't do that. Okay, I agree. Bring back all the living entities. Narada Muni is so happy. You're so happy. So he comes to the material universe, makes an announcement. Everyone, all of you can go back to Vaikuntha. So those who are not aware of Vaikuntha or Goloka, the spiritual planets, they're like, what is there in the spiritual planets? He said, Tesla. They're like, yes, we are going to come. So whatever was anyone's interest, Narada Muni said, you'll get all of that. So everyone agreed to come. Narada Muni was so happy. He said, finally the material universe is going to be empty. And he felt so delighted. He felt so relieved. Because he had spent like so many yugas seeing people coming, going, coming, going. He's like, when is this going to stop? So finally he's very happy. So he picks up his veena and says, follow me. And everyone is following him. And Narada Muni is so happy in ecstasy, is dancing and is chanting. And he goes back to Vaikuntha and meets Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna says, Hari Bol, Narada Muni, how are you? He says, my dear Lord, everyone has come. Krishna says, yes, everyone has come. Where are they? He says, here, right behind me. He looks back, there's no one. There's practically no one. Everyone had agreed to come with Narada Muni, but so on the way, Narada Muni was trying to collect people from various planetary systems, the higher planets. So as soon as people got exposed to the higher planets and they saw the kind of prasad you get there, they're like, we've never tasted this Mahaprasad here. Let me stay back here. Taste this Mahaprasad. Anyways, this Mahaprasad will also make you Krishna conscious. So they stayed back there. So somebody stayed back in Janaloka, somebody stayed back in Tapaloka, somebody stayed back in Maharaloka. By the time Narad Muni goes back across the Virija, everyone stayed back. Because the Virija is a destination where there is just bright light. It is the no-fly zone. Not much activity. So by the time Narad Muni goes across the Virija, everyone's kind of, Narad Muni, please come back again. Next time we'll come with you. So Lord Krishna says, well, I agree to your plan. See, this is what happens. So how is it that intelligent people make those choices? Because of their impressions. If you think that, oh, there'll be nice Mahaprasad in the spiritual world, if you think that, oh, we can play with Krishna and the coward, if you think that, oh, I will be able to fan Krishna, nice. However, there will always be a challenging situation where that desire is challenged. The only person that can get across the Virija into the spiritual planetary system is, Srila Prabhupada says, is someone who's ready to be only a servant, not a specific kind of servant. So if you're only wanted to serve in whatever capacity Krishna feels you can serve, then you don't carry impressions from this material world. So one has given up enjoyment, and one has also become unburdened from the impressions of this material world. So now there is absolutely no baggage. One is situated in one's original state of being part and parcel of Krishna, and one knows one's duty. The duty is to be unalloyed servant of Krishna. It's not tinged with intelligence, it is not tinged with the pure mind, none of that. It's just pure consciousness. Chaitanya. So we'll see next time. What fuels, what is it that ignites these impressions that make one go away, despite knowing that one should not be going away? So we'll stop here. Any questions or comments?
Is the question allowed that what's the answer to the questions that has been the topic of this class?
Allowed. What is the answer?
Is that question allowed? That what's the answer of Krishna?
Well, yes, I kind of hinted about it that. So what really causes this problem is what Krishna is going to discuss next time, and then we'll take it on from there. However, briefly, Prabhupada gives simple statements, right? It's because in kindergarten, it's best we give small statements for children to understand. So he gives very simple statements. He says, just be happy in Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. So all we have to do is try to be happy in Krishna consciousness. Yes.
So you talked about impressions and impressions of this material world, and these impressions then are the fuel for our desires. Am I getting that right? So, but even when we are progressing in Krishna consciousness, our fuel is also the impressions that we get from our practice, from study, from sadhana, from examples of others, right?
Yes.
So there are all these different kinds of impressions going on at the same time. And if, like in the example of Pandavas, the impressions of their relationship with Krishna allowed them to give up everything and go straight away, because they were practicing that detachment over all their life. So, and then during those impressions, our swadharma, whatever we construe at the time of with our conditioning, is what we try to do, right? So then, how is it that, because I think Krishna says in 18th chapter that even if you're performing your duty incorrectly or impurely, you still continue that. So can you delineate these two factors?
Thank you for asking that question. It is kind of, he always is into thesis. Postdoc. Everyone knows Mukund Leela? He has got double PhD more than me or anyone else I know of. 2 PhDs, 3 PhDs. I'm not sure how many he's working on still, but at least more than that, which is fact. So yeah, so I'll have to answer according to how he thinks. First of all impressions are not desires. The impressions that we hold on to is desire. So there's a desire which manifests in the form of enjoyment. I desire to do this and I immediately do it. So that is one form of desire. The other is a desire to hold on, that slowly I'll grow, make this grow, and when I feel it's the right time, then I'll act. So those desires that we hold on to, those desires that we add on to, layer by layer by layer, that is vasana. Those are the impressions that distract one. Whereas the other impressions which are created by time are also destroyed by time, because we don't hold on to it. Like we don't hold on to the impressions of all that we studied in 4th grade. So time has destroyed that. But some of that which we have held on to, this is what the teacher did. But sometimes we may still have dreams about it. So that is desire, because we are holding on to it. That is attachment and aversion. So when Krishna is asking us to perform a swadharma, he understands the challenges that we have, and he knows that we trying to give up impressions is going to make us perform different kind of actions. So he says, do your swadharma even though you are doing it incorrectly, because that will be easy for you to perform, and at the same time it will keep you in the mode of goodness. So slowly the mode of goodness helps us evolve such that we become a little more detached. That is what the mode of goodness does. It helps us in detachment. So that is where Krishna is advising us, so that we can stay in the mode of goodness and we can continue to evolve in the mode of goodness. First of all, swadharma is easy to perform. So anything that in this particular body is easy to perform, that becomes a dharma for this body. That is called swadharma for this body. Is that all right? How did you like the thesis? The what do we call it? The explanation. Was it okay? You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
Maybe if I understand correctly, that like to come out of this impression, one have to like surrender to Krishna, like service, servant of Krishna. So like Arjuna, even he was a great devotee, even though he was asking, we would telling this kind of thing that he was not a devotee, but Arjuna was a great devotee, even though he was asking this kind of question. So what one can like one has a devotion level that maybe one person can come out of this like impression and like become servant of Krishna. What could be the one level of devotion? Like
There's only one litmus test for that, at the moment of death, are we able to remember Krishna in full Krishna consciousness? That is a litmus test. There is no other litmus test. An entire life of Krishna consciousness should be able to culminate in the fact that we remember Krishna at the moment of death. And that remembrance of Krishna should be in pure Krishna consciousness or complete Krishna consciousness, where we are not distracted by anything else. Like even if Krishna comes and says, why don't you take this material planet and enjoy here for some time? You're like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered Sridhar Kolavich, she says, my dear Lord, I just desire to chant your holy names. There's the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and one of his admirers, Sridhar. And you please come and always have those dealings with me that you had, where you would argue about what is the price of what I sell. Let me have those dealings with you, because I'm captivated by those dealings. Now Sridhar could have asked, please let me come to your temple and let me lead Mangal Arati. Or he could have said, please, next time, please let me be there right beside you when you're leading Yatra. But he asked for that which is the most simple for him, where he is in complete Krishna consciousness, dealings. So these pastimes are very, very helpful to meditate on, to analyze. So please don't worry about what level of devotion we have to be at. Try to practice or try to conduct your practices in such a way, whichever it is. If it is dovetailing your work or your family affairs in Krishna consciousness, or if it is days where you're taking the day off and the whole day you're just chanting Hare Krishna, or reading something, whatever it is, all of those activities should be done according to Srila Prabhupada, knowing very well that Krishna is so kind that even a little bit of service done unto him satisfies him. So with that confidence, we should go on performing our actions, whatever it may be, with that confidence, with that remembrance, such that whenever the time comes that we have to leave the body, we'll be able to remember Krishna and only Krishna in complete Krishna consciousness. Then it's done. Any other adjustments that we try to make, which is not bringing in that culmination. Like even if Krishna comes and says, all right, I'll help you, let me take you back to Godhead. So when he's taking us back to Godhead, he's going to make us most probably, unless until it's those exceptional cases, most probably give us another life where it will be much more easier for us. So one step closer of going back to the spiritual world, it has to be by our own desire, our own free will. So he'll give us one more chance, where we are not challenged by whatever distractions we had there. Otherwise, Krishna's energy is going to give us one more chance, where we are either born in a family of advanced devotees or in a family where we do not have to really worry much about our daily needs. Suchitam, Shrimatam, Dehi, like that. Is that okay? So that is the only litmus test. There's no other litmus test. That is the only CT, confirmatory test. Antakale chamameva smaram tva kaleva. Is that helpful? Everything else should bring us to that goal. Everything should bring us to that goal. Yes.
Once initial point we got that Krishna left this planet, so he left everything starting in north direction, he told us. And then Narada Muni also went, his mother died and he started in north direction. Why everybody starting north, not in east, west or south?
In the scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, the direction north is not what the compass shows. The direction north is Ishan, the direction of the Lord. The south is the direction of Yamaraj. So you get repeated birth there. You'll get your pious credits there. The northern direction is the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when they say north, it means that now they are trying to complete the spiritual evolution. That is the only task they are taking. If they go in any other direction, it could be for various other purposes. So it's very symbolic. Plus also, in the material realm, north also resembles the Himalayas and place where you do austerity. That is also there. So whatever is on the subtle plane, the principle also manifests in the gross plane. What we see by our eyes, that is also manifested accordingly. Okay? Yes. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Yes.
Rohinipriya Prabhu ki.
Yeah.